We are live, Matthias.
We are live.
We are live.
Very good. Missed the intro video, but that might come later.
So if you're listening to us, then say hello, because this is our first time doing this. So we're live. So hello in the chat. And we'll see if anyone joins us whilst you take me through how to be a professional CI/CD developer.
Yeah, that's really the idea, right?
Yes, definitely.
We thought we'd get together here.
David.
Very good, very good. Yeah,
Oh,
awesome. Yeah, we thought we'd get together occasionally and explore what's there to learn around Git and CI/CD with respect to Power BI. And
just to interrupt, Saba, I think was at our user group last night, Saba. I think. Yeah. So yes. So we're 25 minutes. So go for it first. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. It's going to be pretty relaxed and casual. No super strict agenda here, other than trying to pass on some wisdom and some knowledge. I'm expecting to be challenged from you in terms of why we're making everything so complicated. Cool. So
I will challenge you. Don't worry, because I like to understand why.
Yeah. So do you have Git installed on your machine? Do you know how to find out how to install it, or whether it's installed? And
I think I have Git. Git desk. So this is what confuses me. There's
right.
Git, and there's Git desktop, and there's GitHub, and there's all of these things. So I use GitHub to store files that I want to share with people.
Right.
And I have desktop on my machine, and then there's also Gist as well.
Gist. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So shall we? I'm just realizing somehow I need to connect YouTube to StreamYard to join the chat. So I'm not going to attempt that right now because I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm not on the chat, but I'm monitoring it. So if there's anything to say on my behalf, then maybe you can do that.
I can do that.
Okay. Do you want to show my screen?
Yes, please. And Visual Studio Code I've got as well.
Oh, very good. Very good.
So I've got Visual Studio Code. So I want to really get good at Visual Studio Code as well.
Okay. So let me, sorry. Let me just change that to light mode. So here we go.
Brilliant.
It's probably easier to see now.
Yeah, I find light mode easier to see.
All right. So let's try to take it apart a bit. So we're looking at a public GitHub repository. So this is GitHub, right? And we can see this actually contains a PBIP, Power BI project, report and semantic model. So this is public intentionally. I use that for lots of demos and training. So anyone is free to grab this URL here. Maybe if you want to put it in the chat, Sue, if you wouldn't mind.
I will do.
Then people can get access to it. And so
I like the fact that you're using a project, because that's what we all should be using, or to get more understanding of. Yeah.
So since you mentioned VS Code earlier, let me show you a little trick. So I'm in my browser, I'm in github.com, right? So I'm going to push the dot key on my keyboard, just the dot key, nothing else. And look what's happening. It's now actually opening up a browser-based version of VS Code. How cool is that? So
how did you get it to do that?
You just click dot, the dot key on your keyboard. That's it. Very, very plain, simple shortcut, but it's extremely powerful. And so, which means even if you're on the go, you're like on a Chromebook or something, or on a tablet, you can still use VS Code because it's all just a browser app. So there we go.
So I don't have to do it. I don't have to do it from within GitHub. I just press dot.
Yep. And if you look here, what's happening is it changes from github.com to github.dev. So you can actually just go and update or change the URL here and toggle back and forth. So there we go. So that's if I took the exact same URL and did .dev, I actually have my browser-based VS Code, and here we can see that basically this whole thing is pretty much just a nested folder structure, right? So we've got files and folders and subfolders. They all have different extensions, and we can, for instance, look at the PBIP file, which is the so-called Power BI Dev Mode entry file. And what Git allows us is to basically track history across all these files. Since we're in VS Code here, this symbol is really key. The third one on the left.
Oh, right.
That's the source control panel, and this is basically how you access most Git operations from within VS Code, and that works VS Code on your desktop. It works VS Code in the browser, as you can see.
So there was we had a session last night where we were with Jake Duddy talking about source control and Jake.
Yeah.
Source control and version control, and he was pointing out to me that there's a difference between source control and version control. And
that's an interesting one. I've never heard, so I might have to have a chat with Jake about that. But
he said source control is where you're managing the metadata around your model. So any changes that you might make to DAX or columns or things like that. He said version control, and I apologize if I've got it the wrong way. Version control contains the data within your model. So your versions could be different because you've got different data within your model.
Oh, that's an interesting distinction. What he probably refers to was the Fabric UI feature, version control for semantic models, which is a Fabric feature, and it's got nothing to do at all with Git, and it's got nothing to do at all with GitHub, but it is part of web modeling, so where you basically use the semantic model edit interface in Power BI or Fabric, and if you so there's a new feature now. I'm not sure whether it's in preview or not. May well be in preview still, where you have a very, very simplified sort of version control interface within the Fabric UI. So I can only imagine that that's what he's referring to. Yeah. I was not aware that would retain data, but I don't want to comment on something I don't.
And I wouldn't comment on what I'm relaying back because I might have put it was at the end of a very intense hour plus.
No worries. Cool. So we're still looking here. We've got files. Now let's switch to the desktop because, for all practical purposes, there are still many advantages of using VS Code on a desktop. I happen to have that exact same project open. So I'm in the desktop now, and just to show that this is a real Power BI project. So I've got this open here. since it's PBIP, we can actually see in this lovely panel here, that's my entry file, sales.pbip, and then we've got a reference to sales.report and sales.semantic model. And all of that exists on my hard disk, as you can see.
Yeah.
And so that same folder is currently open here. That's the same folder. And I have all these files. And if I go to source control here, I actually have an additional window or panel, which is called graph. So that gives me a very neat view of history. But let's make some history. Let me go in here and actually change something. This is usually something I do with this particular demo. It's very trivial, but also
it's very visible,
quite visible and neat. So if I call this Sue and Mathias, how about this?
Yeah, I think that's.
Now, if I click save. Because it's a PBIP, because it's a version that's broken out into files, and because I actually have this open VS Code, I can see, going back to source control, how only 2 files have had changes. And this one in particular is actually the one we're interested in. So I'm inside the source control panel, I'm looking under changes, and I'm selecting this particular file, visual.json. If you know the PBIP format, you know that visual.json is a file that defines everything around a particular visual on the page. Could be a text box, could be a slicer, could be any kind of chart. The file is always called that. It's always called visual.json. And from the file path, you can see sort of what it relates to, right? So we've got a page name here, and then we've got a visual name here. They're all random. And then finally, we've got the visual.json here. But what matters is what has actually changed. And so over here on the right side, we have the so-called git diff view, right? Where we see in a standardized colored way what's changed. So you always, by convention, on the left-hand side, you see the previous version, and on the right-hand side, you see the new version. And you see everything that's been removed in red and everything that's been added in green. And look at this. It's actually very, very straightforward because that was a text box where basically just changed the text, and you can actually see that this is a very granular, specific change that shows up. Now this view, it still has a lot of noise in it, so let me show you something else. If you go up here, so that's the 3-dot menu in the very top right corner. And you switch to inline view. I'm going to do that now. Look at that. This is even better. So now you don't have side by side. Now you actually have the changes integrated into one view of the document. And now you can see line 22 was changed. We also have a metadata change in line 2, but we can ignore that. But what matters here is line 22 has changed, right? And so it's really important for you to be able to toggle between the side-by-side and the inline view. And you can't say that one is better than the other. It really depends. If you have a large document with very small granular changes, inline view is much better. If you have lots of changes, that go over long blocks, then the side-by-side view is better. So it's really important that you are able to toggle back and forth depending on what you need. But there we go. So this
it's got red and green on the right, so that you can see. See where
so the same colors apply here, right? So rather than left and right, we've got now top and bottom, but we can see my company red, that's old, and Sue and Mathias green, it's new. So this is already, a very, very easy and quick to get to advantage of using source control in the sense that you have full visibility of what's actually happening when you make changes. Now, normally you don't, make trivial changes and then look what they look like in JSON. But this would be useful if you were to review changes that come in from someone else or so, right? Or
and
if you
on the right end as well, you've got little red and green on the scroll bar.
Yes, over here, exactly. So again, this is a relatively trivial document. Look, it only has 47 lines, right? In the real world, you may well have 400 or 4,000 lines. So being able to see all the locations within that document that have changes is really, really useful, right?
Can you click then on the ones over on the right-hand side? Will it then automatically take them?
Correct. So if I had a very long document, and we can maybe find an example of that, the view on the right would always give you a complete vertical view of your entire document. Even if the full document doesn't fit on one page, and then you can just click where you want to go.
Okay.
All right. Let me just explain this one up here really briefly, because if you do end up working with PBIR, you're going to see those kinds of changes quite frequently. So basically, every file inside a report definition folder uses JSON. And the PBIR format, which is currently in preview, but is becoming the new standard in the new year. There was a recent blog post from Rui last week. The PBIR format basically defines public schemas for each file, which help you with. Well, actually, look at this. We can get this. Right here. So if I hover over anywhere, like this, for instance. So look, I've hovered over this particular property called objects, and now I'm getting this description. I'm getting that description, which actually tells me what this objects property is about, because I'm using the schema, right? So this is all metadata that's coming from that schema. It's actually publicly available under this URL.
Okay.
And the point I'm trying to make is the schema evolves. And as you can see, even though I haven't made anything myself, the version of Power BI Desktop I'm using right now by default uses the 2.4 schema version. And so whenever you use newer versions of Desktop, you will occasionally see how those $schema URLs change. And you shouldn't get disturbed by that. You just need to accept it. So it's one of those things, it's a bit of noise, but ultimately it's a good thing, because it gives you this validation as well as the hover over
it's good to know that, because otherwise you would be I would be wondering why it changed and thinking, do I need to do anything about it? So that's really helpful.
And so sorry. Go ahead.
That's really simple. It's probably so PBIP. What's the difference between PBIP and PBIR?
Good question. Right. So let's go back here.
Yeah.
So this is our overview. Right. Where basically we've got a PBIP file, and then we've got two subfolders, which by convention are suffix.report and .semantic model, right? So PBIP is basically this. It's a format that gives us a source control compatible view of Power BI reports and semantic models. And is the complete full equivalent of PBIX.
Yes.
Which a PBIX file basically has those two bits combined, a semantic model and a report. but you don't really know that. You can't see that,
No.
right? Because
No.
it's one binary file. Whereas here, PBIP is an evolution of PBIX and just shows you everything that is inside a PBIX file as separate folders and files. And so the P means project. So this goes from a PBIX binary file to a PBIP project folder, right? And so PBIR is this bit here. So if you leave aside the semantic model, which is defined using Tyndall, you know, yet another pet peeve of mine. If you look just into the report, PBIR is the PBI report definition. So that is basically part of PBIP, and it's a specification and a format for report pages and filters and visuals and bookmarks and whatnot in JSON format. So that's the difference.
Brilliant. So it sits. So PBIP is the overall wrapper.
Yeah.
And within PBIP, we've got the semantic model and we've got the report. And the PBIR sits within the reporting side of within PBIP.
Yeah.
So basically, it will then eventually allow us to programmatically change the report view.
Correct.
From
inspect it or change it, yes.
Inspect it or change it, but it has to be within a PBIP format, and so it sits within it.
Yeah. And just to make the analogy complete, so we also have PBISM. So that's the might sound a bit naughty, but PBI, that's the PBI semantic model file, right? So and now you see how it's all coming together. So we've got the PBI project, which is the overarching thing. Then we've got PBI report, and we've got PBI semantic model, right? And so each of those. So this one is a standalone Fabric item, and this one is a standalone Fabric item. And as you can see, they have very similar structures, right? So we've got in common definition subfolder. We've got in common the .platform file. And then we've got in common a definition file here. But those are different, as you can tell, because they have a slightly different extension, right? So, and then there may be other files, right? So, for instance, we've got static resources for reports. That is report specific. It doesn't apply to semantic models. If we then look inside the definition folder, things get very different. Inside the definition folder, things are very specific to report versus semantic model. So for a semantic model, we have Tyndall in there, as you can see, lots of Tyndall files. Inside the report, we've got a PBIR, so lots of JSON files, right? So there we go. So cool.
So we are at nearly 25 past, and I promised you that we would keep it to 25 minutes. So what I am going to do is I'm going to make sure that I get to this point and show you in a 1 minute recap ready for next week.
Yes, exactly.
Night, because otherwise I'm wasting your time as well as mine. So if you're following along, and we've got 7 people with us, Mathias. So and we haven't really published it, so we're very pleased with that. But if you're following along, what we're going to do to keep up for our next session in a fortnight is we're going to download VS Code, and I'm going to get it working in the browser. Then I'm going to have a PBIP project file, and I'm going to make changes, and I'm going to prove to you when we start in a fortnight that I can do that.
Fantastic. That sounds like a plan. Cool. So hopefully that was useful. And I never realized how the distinction between PBIR and PBIP is so tricky to people. So hopefully it's helped, having put some explanations around it.
Yeah. Jake's telling me to go to the Fabric API docs and read the definitions. Is that my homework as well, Jake?
Okay,
Any
awesome.
questions for us? We've got a couple of minutes, but what we want this to be is no effort for either Mathias or I, but we want to share our learnings and our journey. So it's going to be short, sharp, brief, and fun. So any questions before you go? I think that was really helpful, actually, because I didn't know. I would have been confused what the difference was with PBIP and PBIR. And I like the inline, so we can compare the two. I like the fact that I can see in a large document the different red and green, so I can see the version control. And we've got Jake on here now, so we were discussing Jake about version control and source control, and I was trying to point out to Mathias your definition, which I found interesting.
Well, let's pick that up next time.
We'll
And let's also start off on your screen, Sue, when you'll next time around when
yes,
when you'll do a recap in VS Code of
I will. I will do a
where you got
recap
to.
in VS Code as to where we've got to, and our next session is 2 weeks' time. So we're going to do it fortnightly at 2 o'clock, and both Mathias and I have signed up for that. So if you haven't joined us, please do. And next, in a fortnight, what we will do is we'll be starting with VS Code and me doing a recap, and then Mathias taking me on the next step. And David's saying to add in extensions in VS Code, Git Graph, Color Highlight, or Timdal. Yes, Timdal extension is very helpful. Git Graph. And a quick question from Kafosi. This is a preview feature still, right? Do we have some estimation when preview will end for PBIP?
There was a blog post exactly on that topic last week on the Power BI blog, which didn't give dates, but Rui, who's the PM behind all those features, reassured that one PBIR is going to be the default in the very near future, and PBIR, as Jake rightly points out in the comments, is the only piece of all of that that's currently not GA. So everything else is ready in terms of GA quality, particularly Timdal. And so basically, once PBIR is GA, all of PBIP will be GA as well, and we're not far off.
Thank you, Peter. It's Peter. Hopefully I pronounced that right. We are going to go. Thank you so much for joining us. This is being recorded on YouTube, and we will see you in a fortnight. Any questions, just pop them in the chat, and hopefully you can join me with the journey on how to download VS Code and to start to take apart PBIP files. Every day's a learning day. And we're branching out, Mathias.
We are branching out indeed. Thanks, everyone. Give us your questions. Very excited. And looking forward to 2 weeks from now.
Yes. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.